Hey guys, welcome to Food and Frolic. Today on Food and Frolic, we'll be making another very popular Indian street food. We are going to make very flaky, very crunchy homemade samosas. And not only am I going to show you the traditional fried way that it's done, but for the health freaks out there, we are also going to bake it. To be very honest, the recipe today is not something I would call very easy. But if you follow it to the T, you will get very crunchy homemade samosas. So let's get started. We first start with preparing the dough for that crunchy outside, for which we need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, to which we add a teaspoon each of carom seeds and salt. Like always, you can find all of these ingredients along with their measurements in the description box below. Now give this all a very good mix. Now I add total of 4 tablespoons of ghee. So the basic thumb rule here is to add 2 tablespoons of ghee per cup of flour. And now you need to get your hands dirty. So dive in your fingers and start crushing the flour along with the ghee that we added. This step is extremely crucial to get those flaky samosas, so do not skip this one. Basically, you need to keep crushing the flour between your fingers till it resembles the texture of breadcrumbs. And once that is done, I add half a cup of water. In case you're not very confident about the quantity of water that the flour would need, I would suggest go very slow and add it in parts. Because the dough that we need for these samosas needs to be very hard. So the very logic behind having a very tough dough is that the water content in your dough should be as less as possible. Otherwise your samosas won't turn out as crunchy or the skin will have the bubbles. So making this dough is kind of like a workout. After doing this, you'll definitely enjoy the samosas guilt-free. As you can see, the dough is much stiffer than the regular chapati dough, and it's not entirely smooth either. So once you're done with this dough, keep it covered with a damp cloth for at least half an hour. So until then, we are going to make some samosa stuffing. For the stuffing, I take 4 boiled potatoes, no matter how reluctant they are, and I crush them with my fingers. There's literally no other way you should be doing this for samosas. It shouldn't be smooth like mashed potatoes, nor should it be very chunky, so we cannot cut it up in cubes. So smashing the potatoes with hands gives it a perfect texture, and you can't really deny that it's fun too. And then there are only 2 ingredients that need to be chopped. I'm taking 3 green chillies here, which I'm chopping extremely fine, and a bunch of cilantro or coriander leaves, which again I'm chopping very fine. Then to make the filling, I take a pan into which I pour around a tablespoon or 2 of cooking oil, and once the oil is slightly heated, we throw in the chopped chillies. Once the chillies are nicely fried in oil, we add a tablespoon of crushed ginger and fry that as well along with the chillies. And then you need to add 1 cup of green peas. I'm using frozen green peas here, so they don't really take very long to cook. And then I throw in the crushed boiled potatoes. So along with these masalas, just add some love, be the sweetheart that you are, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon for some very delicious recipes. Now I add in a bit of salt and a whole wide range of masalas. Here I am adding 2 teaspoons of coriander powder, a teaspoon of jeera or cumin powder, a teaspoon of red chilli powder, a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of garam masala, and finally a 1/4 teaspoon of amchur or dry mango powder. Now in case you don't have this, you may use chaat masala or squeeze in some lemon juice. You can find all of these substitutes as well in the description box below. And now give this all a very good mix. So you need to cook this mixture till it becomes very dry because you don't want your samosas to be soggy from the inside. And finally top this mixture with some chopped coriander leaves. Now mix this all up really well and allow this mixture to cool completely. Now by the time the mixture cools, we'll be making the covering, for which I take the dough that we made. So the dough has been well rested by now. If you tear the dough apart, you can see that it splits very easily. And I take a palm-sized ball. So all you need to do here is to roll the dough into a very thin sheet. It really doesn't have to be perfect. and you cut the sheet into 2 equal halves. Each half will make 1 samosa. Now apply some water to the edges of the sheet and join the edges together to form a cone. Now we fill a tablespoon of masala into this cone and seal the edges completely. If you see any open pockets, you can still press it with your fingers. And there you go. That's how your samosa should look like. Now do this with the other half and the rest of the dough, of course. So this recipe will yield around 12 to 15 small samosas. Now to bake them, I take a baking tray lined with a baking sheet and I grease the samosas to give them the lovely color. You can skip this if you want to avoid the extra oil. Now I'll be baking them for around 30 to 40 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. But halfway through the baking, around 15 to 20 minutes later, I take them out and flip them over. And for other half, we'll be making the indulgent version of samosas, which is by frying them. For which I take some oil in a kadai. To check if the oil is hot enough, you can drop in a skewer. If you can see tiny bubbles formed around the skewer, that means your oil is done. And drop in the samosas. If you notice the oil is not bubbling a lot, which means it's not too hot, and the stove flame should be at its lowest. Otherwise the covering will turn brown too soon from outside and it won't be cooked from inside. Again, in a minute or two, give them a good flip. And in 4 to 5 minutes, you'll see that they have turned into a lovely golden brown color. There you go. That's when you know your samosas are done. Don't they look beautiful? Now repeat this exercise for the rest of samosas. Remember to keep the oil at a very low flame. If the oil turns too hot, just turn off the flame and start over in 2 minutes. And that's it. Serve these piping hot samosas with some chutney, ketchup or whatever dip of your choice. And look at how lovely they look. So the one I'm showing you right now is a fried samosa. And here you go. You can see how the baked samosa has turned out. So though it doesn't have the lovely brown color on the outside, like the fried ones do, both of these are extremely crunchy from the outside. Now split one apart and enjoy. Serve some fried chillies on the side if you prefer. And also do let me know in the comments below how you enjoyed watching the recipe today. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you. Bye-bye.